Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Happy Friday! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo!
We made it.
Yes, man, it's beautiful out there, too.
It is, man.
Get outside, enjoy this weather.
Yes, sir.
It's like spring.
Because it's going to be cold tomorrow.
Boom. Well, colder.
Yeah.
Cold to me is below 30.
Yeah.
We ain't going that low.
No,
I keep my AC. I keep my AC on, man. So
look at those beautiful shots of our city.
Anybody inside them buildings?
Oh, for sure.
I don't know. You know, the court was closed for 2 weeks. They had a cyber attack.
Oh, I know.
That was
You used to work for the city, right?
Yeah, I know.
Man, and they still don't know, like, what's behind it, who was, what happened, did they pay them, what happened?
I don't know, man, but shout out to everybody at Earl B. Turner Clerk of Court. I'll talk to the clerk himself. I know a couple people.
Hectic time over there.
It's rough.
Now they got to schedule the cases that were canceled for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Really 2+, in the next 30 days.
Yeah.
So everybody's going to be working a lot of extra time over there.
I know some folks over there that's very, very overworked right now.
And underpaid.
Hey.
So
I'm glad to be here.
Hey, Big Nuggets,
we're glad you're here.
We just chilling. It's a big press conference coming up later on today, right? Jason Lloyd is
Allegedly.
down there. Allegedly, 11 o'clock.
They had dinosaurs. They're handing out dinosaurs. They have dinosaurs on cupcakes. Jason's at the Myles Garrett press conference. He's going to come back around 11:45, and then we will react to what we heard from Myles Garrett. But before we dive into anything, we got 8 minutes. G, you came in hot this morning. The floor is yours.
I wasn't even that hot. I look at with Myles Garrett, right? I think that sometimes as Cleveland fans, we need to keep the main thing the main thing. The main thing is Myles Garrett is a great player. He's a Hall of Fame player, best defensive player in the history of the Cleveland Browns. He's coming back. He's on our team. I think sometimes we get a little distracted in the contract thing and whether he's leaving or not or whatever the case may be. I just want to give people a little context. I think sometimes in the article Jason wrote, and if you haven't read the article, go check it out.
For those that haven't read it, give a quick summation.
Quick summation is, Myles Garrett, it basically questions the leadership. Not saying that Myles Garrett isn't a great player or doesn't have great character.
Yeah.
He's saying that, for what he is, they expect more in terms of leadership from Myles Garrett in terms of him not missing some stuff.
And there's some work habits.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, when you look at it, on the face value, that is all correct. You would like your best players to be your hardest workers. But sometimes that does not fall into fruition. I talked to Mikey and I talked to Earl, and I feel like this. Your leader can't really be a defensive end. Like to me, the leader is the quarterback.
What about Ray Lewis? I know it wasn't a defensive end, but he's a defensive player.
Yes, you could be a rare player that is built like that, and you can be an anomaly. But in terms of them winning a Super Bowl, they never won a Super Bowl until they got the quarterback, and the quarterback was the leader in what they were trying to do.
Wait, in Baltimore?
You talk about the first iteration when they had Ray Lewis and they won with Dilfer, right?
Yeah.
So that was the anomaly.
Ray Lewis was always the unquestioned leader of that team.
But Joe Flacco got to a point where they were like, okay, well, and he went back and forth. The point I'm saying is this. When you are a defensive player, you look at guys like Lawrence Taylor. We talk to Leroy all the time. Lawrence Taylor is like, yes, I'm about to go play golf, and I'm going to show up late to meetings, and I'm not even going to come to some stuff. You take a look at, and granted, is that the way you would want him to act? No, but Lawrence Taylor is a defensive player. It's minimal in terms of what his rub-off ability.
Different era, too.
Okay, different era. I look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan let somebody go to Las Vegas, and he knew about it. Dennis Rodman was in Vegas for a week. His coaching, this is one of the greatest of all time. And Jackson, and he's telling him, let's let Dennis go off. That's crazy to me. But since they won all the titles, people don't really talk about that. When you look at the thing with Myles Garrett, I always say this, man, is you need a quarterback to be that main guy. In terms of when you're talking about all of the stuff about the high moral ground and whether or not guys are going to, all the meetings and everything like that, of course you're supposed to do that. But I always say that like this: you can't have it both ways. This thing is a business. If we was so hung up on that, Nick Chubb will still be on this team. If you want top character and you want somebody to show them how it's done, Nick Chubb will still be here.
Yeah, but void of talent, it doesn't matter how hard you work. There's got to be talent and there's got to be health.
Talent will always trump morality.
It will carry the day, but I hear what you're saying. I do. And I think each case is isolated on its own. In the case of Jordan made the very wise calculation that his team was better when Dennis was happy. Mm-hmm. Now, Jordan has talked subsequently about how that's a one-off. There's like one guy you would do that for.
Right.
And it was Dennis Rodman, who was probably unlike any player we've ever seen any sport.
Talent.
Because when he was on the floor, nobody played harder.
And I know, Earl, you had some stuff to say to it.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, because basically what G is trying to say is it's different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm not,
and he's right on
disagreeing that, right? Because that's for all of us in this room. You earn that longer leash, right? That comes through hard work and credibility. But I guess like my only pushback would be is like we all remember the movie Remember the Titans, right? Mm-hmm. And attitude is a reflection of leadership. So if Myles is not showing up to meetings on time, if Myles is not attending mandated practices or whatever the situation is, then Isaiah McGuire and Alex Wright think that they could pull the same things off that Myles can. Sure. But you can't, because you don't have the talent, you ain't got the credibility, you ain't got the respect level.
Right.
Right? And so to me, I just feel like all those examples G named, all those dudes were Super Bowl champions, right? Those was winning organizations. But the culture here is not that great. Winning is not something that has ever been above a mediocre standpoint here. And so the situation here has to be different. If you really want everybody to buy in, if you really want people to really get on tap with what's going on, then they need to pay attention to what Myles is doing, and they need to see how Myles is rolling so that they can conduct themselves that exact same way. I feel like it's no different from any of us in our works of lives or careers when you got other people that's not really earned, the cachet that you've earned, but they seeing how you move, and they think if you can get away with certain stuff, then I can get away with
That's
certain
true.
stuff.
Well, let me interject just one thing, because I truly believe that. One of the things that we learned from the offseason was this. There were players and veterans on the team that were upset that when they sat there and watched film, Kevin Stefanski would not criticize Deshaun Watson in front of the team. Yep. He would not do it.
But he was hard on the other quarterbacks.
But he would eviscerate all the other quarterbacks. And so when you set that type of I guess, culture, it's like, okay, well, listen.
It's coming from the top
It's coming from top. So if we don't get on Myles Garrett, and trust me, I would tell Myles, listen, bro, I need you to do X, Y, and Z because that's how important you are to us. And I need you to step that up. But first and foremost, it comes from the coach, and the coach has to set that culture of saying, listen, I'm going to coach everybody the same way. And I think Kevin Stefanski lost a little bit of that when people saw the way he kind of, even when Stump Mitchell was on. Even when Stump was on, he talked about how there was concessions. And so now I think this year, and I'll give him credit, I think the way he's moving in the offseason, he's moving to a point, Jay, where he's saying, look, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out my way. I'm going to reset some things.
And I like that.
And I like that, saying that he owns it. So Myles has to own it.
I'll say this. I think anytime anybody compromises their integrity, it compromises your credibility, right? And leadership should come from the quarterback position. But it's also okay to be a really, really good player and not be a leader. But the thing is with Myles, when you come out and verbally say, I'm a leader, I'm one of the leaders of these teams, and then you don't check off those boxes that says, okay, this is leadership, and that's what that looks like.
I'll wrap it up this way.
In your mouth.
I agree with that. If you want to say that you're a leader, you got to check the boxes.
Yeah, and Myles actually has stiff-armed that. He's like, I don't have to be the leader. You don't. Early on, when other coaches have said we need more out of you, he would say, I'm a quiet leader. I don't lead that way. That's not my style. Yeah. That's fine. That's okay. Not everybody does have to be a leader. However, I would say this about this whole conversation. To your point, that culture with those organizations, they had a winning culture. They were winning. It's not like they, not to say that you're complacent when you're winning, but you need to do things when you're losing that winning teams may not be doing. Right. Yeah. And setting a culture is a big part of that. And that means all 53 pulling the rope in the same direction. Here was my takeaway from Jason's piece and whether or not it's an issue with the team. How'd Jason find out about that?
He talked to the people on the team.
Right. What does that tell you?
They
They don't necessarily have Myles back, do they?
Hey, listen, they've kept it real and a lot, and you be willing to show bad teams. I got people that's willing to talk.
Always, because all the warts are out for the public when you're losing.
Yep.
Those same warts are hidden when you're winning because everybody's happy and nobody's snitching. Not to say that whoever talked to Jason was snitching. However, I've been around teams where there have been bad seeds in the locker room, but those teams were winning. And guess what? I don't want to say we didn't find out about it. It wasn't out there in the public.
Yeah.
When you're losing, there is this insatiable quest for information on why you're losing. And some guys that may be leaders think that they're helping the cause by, well, I'm going to bring this to the light so it can be addressed, so it can be fixed. So maybe the thought process was player A has seen Myles go through this career meandering because he's so talented, but not giving 110% effort mentally and physically, maybe in practice. And he says something to the media in hopes that that would spark Myles to kind of self-inspect and say, I've got to be better. But the fact that players, not just one, multiple players within this organization told Jason what they told him, that speaks volumes to me.
Yeah, I think that speaks volumes. And at the end of the day, people will say that. But I think if he got $40 million, give me them 16 sacks. The Browns are a better team with Myles Garrett.
And that's a fact.
And it may be a little annoying that he does those little things. And trust me, if he gave me 5 sacks, then we start talking about you need to be showing up.
Right.
As long as you give me them 16 and you back, I'll take it.
The last thing, you said the Browns are better with Myles Garrett. I agree with that. You'd be really hard-pressed to say anything other than that. Here's the question. Are they the best team that they can be with Myles Garrett? And the reason I ask it that way is because leaders raise the level of effort and production from everybody. Is he doing that?
Well,
and that, I think, is what Jason's piece was bringing to light.
I know we got to go. 30 seconds. I know we got to go. Myles had a press conference towards the end of the season when he says, the results come in performance, right? Or something along those lines where he said, that's where it's at. It's in your results, right? And so to me, like, I think he was trying to get more results out of everybody else. But all I'm saying is Myles is a hell of a player. But that don't mean that it translates always to where you have to be this top tier leader or that you have to be a leader at all. But to that point, and I ended on this, if that's not who you are, stop getting out in front of the cameras and saying that's who you are.
Yeah, and I think that's why I said earlier, I think there has been some pushback on Myles to say, look, I don't have to be a leader. Don't look at me to be the leader. That can be someone else. Here's the other proof in the pudding thing. You talk about like the individual results. Is it possible that a team can have the best defensive player in the game and win just 3 times?
It happened.
Yeah.
It did happen. My point, the reason I bring that up is it's an anomaly. Can you imagine a team that unquestionably had the best offensive player, that would be quarterback, winning just 3 games?
No.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
The quarterback is the more important position.
It is.
Look
but
at the Bengals, who won
stunning.
9 games with the worst defense we've seen
and
in a
had the
long,
best
long
quarterback
time.
play in the league.
Yeah.
Arguably.
All right, we got to listen. We only got 4
Speaking of
minutes
quarterbacks,
We did it.
No, I'm glad we did that. That was a good discussion. But we are going to start today's show with the Russell Wilson decision after a quick word from our newest sponsor, Monarch Money. Have you ever checked your bank account and wondered, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use promo code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That is monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. Guys, Russell Wilson was in Berea yesterday meeting with the Cleveland Browns. Today, Wilson is in New York and/or New Jersey, depending on where they're meeting, with the New York Giants. JG and Earl, we'll start with you. What's a better fit for Russell Wilson as he makes his decision here? Is he a better fit with the Browns or a better fit with the Giants?
Well, Sierra is the best fit for Cleveland, but for Russell Wilson, the best fit for him is the Giants, man. As much as I would like to see Russell here as the bridge quarterback to whomever the Browns draft when they draft him, I just think if you look at the Giants roster, you got a bona fide number 1 wide receiver in Malik Neighbors. You got, what's his name, Tyrone Tracy, rookie running back who came on late last year. You already got a solid left tackle, Andrew Thomas, that's going to protect your blind side. You walk into that situation in New York, you're a guaranteed starter, right? It ain't no rumblings of even if they draft a quarterback, this guy replacing you. This is New York City. You know, you got a superstar wife. It just, everything aligns for Russell Wilson to be able to step into New York and have, like, immediate success. When you look at the team, even though the Browns and the Giants, talent deficient, but they have those skill position guys at just certain positions that if you add a guy like Russell Wilson, it might like create more immediate like success and an immediate impact. So I want Russell in Cleveland, but if I'm being real with myself, the better situation for results for him, man, I'm going to throw to Malik Neighbors and I'm gonna hand the ball off to Tracy. I'm gonna count on Andrew Thomas to protect my blind side, and I'm gonna keep it pushing.
It all depends on what the Browns plan on doing at number 2. Like, if they draft Travis Hunter, and I'm like, oh, y'all got Travis Hunter and Jerry Jeudy, and you show me a little bit of a plan, like, okay, this is how we moving. I would think about that. I would say, man, that's a great opportunity to like look at, those 2 guys. But as constituted. I'm wondering whether he's going to look at it like this, man. Which one of these positions or places am I going to have the longest leash to play and start if they draft or go get a younger quarterback, right? At the end of the day, Russell Wilson wants to play. He wants to be a starter. He doesn't want to come off the bench. So if you look at it at this point, the Giants don't have nobody.
Right.
The Giants don't have
at quarterback.
At quarterback,
yeah, right.
Nobody. Yep. That's clear.
We're not far away from that, by the way.
But the waters is a little muddy now because Kenny Pickett said he's brought in here to, he's starting. He was given that assurance.
No, he's given assurance he can compete for the starting job.
See, that compete word is a loaded word.
Cross to compete.
Like he threw that out there. I said, man, you know what, Kenny, that was good, man. He threw it out. He was confident with it. So now he's trying to be. You think Kenny Pickett want to be in the same locker room as Russell Wilson? Not that he got a problem, but he wants to compete, right?
Sure.
So if it was me and I'm looking around, I'm saying, okay, well, I do got Malik Neighbors. I do think Russell Wilson is built for the big city. That's his personality. And I think the pathway to him starting the most games is with the Giants with a clear number 1 receiver. I would say by a smidge, I would say the better fit for him would be New York. And I think that is why he saved New York for second, not first.
Yeah. We're unanimous on that. I think it's the Giants, primarily because I think they've got the better receiver. Malik Neighbors is a great up-and-coming young receiver. I think we saw certain things last year here in Cleveland out of our guy, but it was only when Jameis Winston was throwing him the football. Other than that, he looked wildly pedestrian, much like he did in Denver. What's interesting to me is the 2 have a history in Denver, Russell. And so I'm wondering what their relationship was like there. From what I had been told during his time in Denver, he didn't have a good relationship with anybody. Remember, it became a big issue when he said, I want a separate area to get dressed. I want to eat with his teammates. And Sean Payton was like, whoa. You're talking about having different rules for different players.
Yeah.
No, that's not how we roll here. We all eat together. We play together. That's how we roll.
Coach Boom.
And Russell was like, well, wait a minute. I'm the star. Sierra's my wife, and she told me I shouldn't be hanging with the peasants. So I don't know. If they didn't have a great relationship, then I don't, that could impede him coming to Cleveland. I do think there's more talent in New York right now. The interesting thing is, it depends on what his end game is. He got his money. He's set. Is he looking for a place where he can go and turn some big numbers and get one more contract? Or is he looking at this as my last money grab? I'm going to have a little bake sale here for a couple years and then ride into the sunset. That's most likely what's realistic.
Right.
If that's the case, I'm surprised if he picks New York because that is a pressure cooker, fellas. I lived in the metro area for 13 years. For 17 years, I was within the media circle of New York City. It's a meat grinder. They just chew you up and spit you out. They don't care. Where in Cleveland, it is not like that at all. We know that. We have some friendly media here.
Well, when it comes to our fan
When it comes
base,
to quarterbacks, it's different.
quarterbacks,
You don't think they're harder on them in New York?
I don't know.
I
I can definitively tell you yes.
I will second, as someone who was born in New Jersey.
Mike will tell you this. I learned this after I was there about a year. I was talking to another media member, a writer in New York City, and I said, "Man, y'all get hunting license for this?" And he said, "What's that mean?" I said, "The way you hunt these pro athletes, I'm surprised that you don't have to get a license for this."
Can I give an example real quick?
Yes. Sure, I have many.
I'm going to give you a blind resume. What if I told you a quarterback finished with 3,900 yards last year that was 8th in the NFL? He threw 28 touchdowns that was 7th in the NFL, only 11 interceptions. So top 10 in yards, top 10 in touchdowns, nearly a 3-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. Would Cleveland run that guy to town?
Hell no. We'd have a parade for him.
And I thought that's Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
That's Aaron Rodgers.
And Jets fans don't want him anymore.
Well, I think when you look at it, now hold on, watch this though. We drafted Baker, right?
Sure.
And everybody loved him.
For a
So
minute.
they didn't.
And then they didn't like him no
So
more.
they didn't.
Yep.
We done booed Couch. We booed Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear Deshaun Watson's name. Colt McCoy, daddy had to call up and say, bro, you get my son killed against.
Which he wasn't wrong. He's clearly concussed. Why is he in the football game right now?
Deshaun Kaiser lost all faculties and was like, I'm just going to go get a job.
Yeah.
We are tough.
Charlie Fry.
We're tough. We tough. For a team that ain't never won nothing.
We're tough, junior high tough.
Okay.
New York City is graduate level tough. I was stunned, and it took me about 5 years before I stopped being surprised at the veracity in which the media can coalesce. Because to me, it felt like, I even used this example once. I said, man, it's like said athlete is a piece of watermelon on the concrete on a hot summer day, and the ants are the media. And they just converge, and before you know it, you look and there's just the brine left. All the watermelon's gone. And you're like, what happened? When they collectively decide that they're done with you, it's over. Because in this city, it's very interesting. The dynamic is fascinating to me. I've said that the Browns fan base is the most polarized fan base I have ever seen. I stand by that. What's interesting to me is in New York, they all tend to march to the media drum. So when the media is done with you in New York, it's a wrap. Because the fan base turns instantly.
It's different.
The
fan base here?
In Cleveland, though,
50-50.
a lot of times, look at who are the most hated media members covering the Browns.
Grossy?
Critical.
Jason?
You could say Mary Kay.
No, Mary Kay is up there.
Well, Mary Kay is probably, of the three, Mary Kay's the most liked. But there are some fans that will crucify Mary Kay.
I think Mary Kay's in that bucket for different reasons, though.
Yes, she is.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that.
Different reasons.
I'll agree with that. We won't get into it right now. However, what I'm saying is, oftentimes the media in Cleveland, and we know who they are. We just mentioned them. When they're critical, it's always with good reason. But sometimes I'm stunned how much Tony Grossi gets attacked when Tony Grossi tells his truth. The truth that he's reported.
The problem is I did this, a couple of days ago. The line is blurred between what you are reporting and what your actual opinion is.
Well, that's the difference between a reporter and a columnist.
And our people and fans don't know what that is.
They do not know what that is.
Jason's a columnist.
Jason is a columnist.
And so
Mary Kay's a reporter.
So when you write something, they're not thinking, oh, this is from the journalist pen, or this is a columnist pen, or this is my opinion on it, this is op-ed. These people don't study that no more. They don't.
No, they don't.
If you write it, that means that is your opinion, and we can critique what you just said.
And because that line is blurry, like I would say that Jason is a columnist, and he's earned that right, but he's also a reporter. Jason digs. Jason has sources. Jason turns stories that we don't hear from other people. And that's reporting. And then he can opine on those findings as a columnist. But oftentimes, when Grossi would be writing, not his opinion, facts. He would be attacked. Well, don't attack me for the facts. They are what they are. This is what I've been told. And in New York, I think the whole mechanics of it is different. And here's why. There's not just 7 beat reporters. You know how many beat reporters the Giants have?
100.
70.
Over 50. At one point, it was over 100. When I was working in New York, it was over 100. Now I think it's it's probably, you're right. If you know that 70, it's over 50. It's a lot. Mm-hmm. Here's what that creates. Major competition. Major. Who's Mary Kay's big competitor here?
I'd argue,
and how many does she have?
I'd argue that
when you have 50 people fighting for one nugget, you get a lot. And when you get a lot and you share it with the fans get angry at the team.
There is a thing that I think fans have where they just don't respect the media in Cleveland. And they say it very loudly.
That is true.
And I think the reason that they say this is because for years the Browns have been terrible, terrible, terrible. And there's a perception that people write. The only thing that they're doing is creating another way to write how terrible the Browns are.
And what that's done is they're killing the messenger.
Yes,
The message is what it is. Look at the record. It's there for everyone to see. Don't kill the messenger.
So when we get a little something positive, right? Like if Baker is playing well, or if somebody's playing well, or whatever the case, or we get a nice shiny toy like Odell Beckham Jr., we ain't trying to hear you destroy that before it's time. Now, sometimes if you don't do it. He's not done yet. The milk has 2 more days before it spoils. Give me a bowl of cereal.
This just happened yesterday. I talk to my little brother every morning before work, and he was talking to me about his opinion about how he think the Browns should go about the draft. And somewhere in the conversation, he told me I was a little bit naive and that I lean too much on how I go about things, and I'm thinking inside the box. He says, you all have a lot of influence on what goes on and don't go on. I said, man, that's BS. I said, if anybody is listening to our opinions and taking that and running with it as fact, that's just on them. That's not on us. He said, no, it don't work like that. He said, this is not any other city. He said, y'all say something, and whether y'all believe it or not, it changes how some of these sports teams move. And I said, well, you know what? If the Browns is making decisions or not making decisions based on what we are saying on camera, that's on them. Right. And so to your point, like I do hear a lot of people say, well, it's the media's fault. It's the media's fault. And maybe I am a little naive, but I don't believe that our words have that much power to where you can dictate a decision like that from a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I just don't think that. Yeah. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
In the real world, you're not wrong. And in practicality, it should never impact what a team does.
Like we give our opinions.
But it does.
That's
and
it.
I would say the fans' opinion does too. To me, the Baker and Odell rift, which led to both of them being exiled, and now we are where we are.
Right.
That was precipitated by media coverage and fan reaction.
Yep.
And they made the decision they've got to go. They could have said, you know what? No, we're sticking with Baker, or we're sticking with Odell.
They sent Odell home. They told Odell he couldn't play football because something his daddy did.
That was wild. And guess what? McNuggets today, are we seeing a smarter front office because maybe they might have sent Myles Garrett home. Maybe they didn't trade him 3 years ago.
Well, he's still good.
He's still too good to trade.
You're not. Come on back.
Speaking of front offices, Eddie George is running a minute late. We'll get Eddie in as soon as he's ready. We're excited to talk to the new Bowling Green head coach. But the Atlanta Falcons front office, Steve, you want to take tag board full here, is basically playing chicken right now when it comes to Kirk Cousins. On Monday, he's due a $10 million guaranteed roster bonus. The Falcons have said, Michael Penix is our starter. Kirk, you'll be the backup. The most expensive backup maybe in NFL history, if that is the case. Charles Robinson, who we had on the show before, does some inside reporting for the NFL. He works for Yahoo Sports and wrote this yesterday. Here's a little snippet from his article. But the Falcons may be trying to squeeze the Browns and Steelers by triggering Kirk Cousins' $10 million salary for 2026. From Robinson, they know the Browns want to bring in another quarterback, and Cousins would be the most familiar, having worked with head coach Kevin Stefanski before. End quote. Jay, do you think the Falcons are playing a game of chicken with Cleveland? And is Kirk Cousins even worth playing chicken for if you're the Browns?
Well, I'll address that secondly because I'll get your guys' thoughts on this after mine. Absolutely, they're playing chicken. When the first report came out 3 weeks ago that the Falcons were going to keep him, I sat in this chair and said, yeah, they are. There's no truth to that. 0, 0, 0. Just do the math on what it costs them and what they get if they do that. Mm-hmm. They've decided that he's going to be the backup quarterback based on the play last year of their new starter, and maybe it's time to turn the page, and that's fine. However, it's still a business, and you cannot just swallow $10 million and say, yeah, you're going to go hold a clipboard and wear a baseball hat. This is absolutely a game of chicken. I don't think anybody's going to fall for it, but I'm afraid the Browns might. If there's a team I think that's why they're playing this game, because they know how badly the Browns need a quarterback, and they know the connection between Kirk Cousins and Kevin Stefanski. They also know that a team in our division needs a quarterback and may be interested in bringing said quarterback in. Mm-hmm. So the fear is, let's ratchet up the heat on Cleveland and say that we're not going to release him, which would mean they won't get him definitively. And there's also a chance that if he does get released, that he goes to Pittsburgh and not Cleveland. They're desperate. They might give up the assets. We've got a sucker in Cleveland. I don't want to be anybody's sucker. And the second part of your question, no, he's not worth playing that game of chicken. If you get him, fine. He's a great addition to your football team. But don't start leveraging assets because you think Atlanta might do something that's just flat stupid.
Yeah.
Keeping him on their roster is stupid.
So for me, I don't think they're playing chicken at all. I think the Atlanta Falcons are dead serious about keeping Kirk Cousins, even at $10 million. I understand that's an expensive backup quarterback, but we've seen quarterbacks get hurt at a very high rate throughout the last 2 seasons in the NFL. The second part about that is...
So you're going to rely on a 37-year-old...
Just hear me out. The second part about that, right? Everybody is talking about Kirk as this bridge quarterback. Well, Michael Penix got 5 career starts under his belt. And so if the Atlanta Falcons front office knows that everybody else is viewing Kirk as this bridge quarterback, they probably like, well, damn, I got a quarterback here. Yeah, he's the projected starter, but he only got 5 stars under his belt. By the way, 58% completion percentage last year. His quarterback rating was 79. He threw as many touchdowns as he did interceptions, 3. So it's not like Michael Penix that checked off every single box that says, you know what, we running with this dude. We done solved our quarterback problem. All wills that end well. No, they're going to rely on Kirk Cousins to still be his teacher, to still be his tutor. And if he gets hurt while Kirk Cousins is still recovering from that injury, or if he sucks, I still got Kirk Cousins that I can put in here and have some success with all the playmakers I got around me. So I don't think they bluffing at all.
I look at it, and Penix doesn't have a really big book of track record of playing ball. You know what I mean? So it's like, do I want to keep Kirk Cousins? I would like to keep him, but at a $10 million clip, McNuggets, that would be the highest paid backup quarterback, right?
I think so, yeah, by far.
Yeah, I think ever.
Yeah.
He's making $40 million next year.
That's a lot.
That's wild. Yeah, this is
chicken.
They're trying to play the game.
There's one thing that I'd throw in about Penix. Okay, if you want to keep a $10 million insurance policy who's 37 years old on your young star getting hurt, not wise, but if you want to do it,
yeah, whatever.
If you want to do it, okay, whatever. However, I'll say this. When you unleash the stallion, and they have, Penix, you're the guy.
Pause. It's crazy.
When you unleash this dude, when you unleash this guy, you can't put him back in the barn.
Yeah, you're right. It ain't no going back.
No,
Ain't no
because
going back.
when you do that, you start to undo whatever confidence he had built. You take it away.
You can't go back.
And look what's happening in
Anthony
Carolina.
Richardson.
Anthony Richardson, Indianapolis. Like, when you tap him on the shoulder and say, we believe in you, and then you go grab him by the arm and say, no, we don't, you're playing with the psyche. And as we've seen, when the psyche goes, Deshaun Watson, the whole house of cards falls.
So I'm sitting here thinking about this. This is a game of musical chairs. Russ is trying to get somewhere where it's best for him. He got his musical chairs between him and the Giants. You look at Kirk Cousins, his musical chairs. Hey, let me go so I can go to the Browns. Now the Browns are sitting here and they're looking around and they got the number 2 overall pick. They act like they want Kirk Cousins, and they act like they may just be cool with just taking Kirk Cousins and Kenny Pickett.
Oh God!
They might be just cool with that.
Well, they'd have to draft one too.
No, G saying they drafting Travis Hunter and they're gonna roll with Kirk Cousins and Kenny.
Oh
Pickett.
no! Well, somewhere in the draft, a quarterback's name will be called, maybe 2.
Tell him don't do this. Don't
Listen,
do this.
man.
Don't do this.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. That starter stuff. I said, listen, man, this is getting spooky. This is getting spooky.
Eddie's
we
on
got
line,
Eddie
so
George.
we gotta
Let's get to
roll.
it.
Yeah, let me do a read. We're going to bring
All
in
right.
our first guest of the day. Very excited to have Coach Eddie George on with us after a quick word from FanDuel. Guys, March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when their first $5 bet wins. That is $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories, and even who's going to cut down the nets when it's all said and done. Visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and get in on all the college hoops action all tournament long on America's #1 sportsbook, which is FanDuel. And with that, we are thrilled to welcome in the new head football coach at Bowling Green University. It is the one, the only, Eddie George.
Oh my God! I got to tell you, as a lifelong Bowling Green fan, that's where I went to school, and also as a 30-plus year huge fan of Eddie George, can we take that picture one more time? Of Eddie sitting there. Look at that.
That's dope.
Outside of you sitting there in Cleveland Browns gear, this is like one of the coolest things I have ever seen. Eddie, great to see you again. How did this happen?
Man, I'm still trying to figure it out, Jay. I'm still. As you can see, man, I look like I got hit by a bus.
No, you
going
don't.
Since last week on a whirlwind, but it's been amazing. You know, about 2 weeks ago, I guess when an announcement was made that this opportunity opened up, I was in Indianapolis at the Combine, and man, I looked at the screen. I was like, man, that's poor timing. You know, right before camp. You know, that's tough. I wonder how they're going to figure that out. And lo and behold, you know, I get a call from Urban and from a search firm, you know, to explore the opportunity to be the head coach, and went on a couple of interviews, and one thing led to another. We found common interest. You know, weighed a lot. I mean, it was tough because of the timing right now. It's right in the middle of the spring, 2 weeks before spring ball, and just the impact of this decision that it had on a plethora of people. I mean, from the student athletes at Tennessee State to the coaching staff to the families. Certainly what this program has already been going through once the head coach decided to leave. So, you know, to be smack dab in the middle of this, trying to make decisions and so forth, trying to stabilize the program has been daunting. But that's where we are right now. But it's been really, really an awesome experience since I stepped foot on the campus. The love has been amazing. The people here are great. Jay, I totally understand why you came to Bowling Green. This is a really unique place to be at. Great experience.
Pisanello's Pizza. That'll be your go-to, okay?
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
write that
I like
down.
it. I like it.
Good. Very good.
Hey, Eddie, man, my grandmother always tell me God's timing is kind of crazy. So to just hear you talk about how this all came about, first and foremost, man, congratulations to you. You know, I was a kid growing up. You was like one of my favorite players. I remember when Madden 2001 came out, you was on the cover. Hurry up, put you on the Browns right away. Took the trades off, put you on the Browns right away. But I'm all about hard work and perseverance, right? And to see you get your start at a HBCU and work your ass off, man, to get to this point. Just talk to people about, you know, the hard work that went into where you was at. I don't know if this was an end goal for you or not, but just ultimately, like, how that hard work helped you get to where you are right now.
Yeah, I worked my chops, honed my skill set at HBCU, and you know, it was tough. You know, just in terms of the lack of resources, the the lack of support, is not as supportive at HBCUs. And you know that going in. You know that it's underfunded in a lot of the areas, and that's the challenge of it. How can you have a demanding product and demand the best of excellence in that environment? And really what I've learned is that you don't need much. You don't need much to be successful. You just need to have the mindset. You need to have the grit and the grind, a weight room and a field, and a standard. You take whatever you have in your hand, no matter how much or how little, and you appreciate that, and you treat it like gold. So I treated Tennessee State like I was at a Power 5 school, like I was at Ohio State, or I was at an organization like the Titans or the Chicago Bears. We're going to operate a certain way. I have a certain expectation when we hit the floor. Everything is aligned. Everything is first class. We're elite, and that's how I approached it. And it did not matter, how far we had to walk, or what we didn't have to eat, or what we lacked. We want to make the best of it. As I told them, listen, we must do hard better. This is what life is about. It's like, nothing's going to be perfect. It's what you do and how you appreciate and have gratitude for what you have. So yeah, it was tough, and I learned a lot. And it was the timing, football timing and God's timing, completely different timing. So I trust where I'm at. I trust what I'm going through, and it hasn't been easy, but it certainly has been gratifying to see, like, man, this is what the hard work has gotten me to, and my family to, and our coaching staff to. So I'm here to immerse myself into the culture. Give it all I got. I got a lot going on, as you can see, and just trying to stabilize this coaching staff right now, and try to get on the football field where it really counts.
Eddie, congratulations, obviously, on getting a job at BGSU. I'm a former football player, alumni of the Ohio University Bobcats. Now you got a little way to go. The Bobcat, the
Hey!
I just told them jab. I'm just saying. I mean, we get bold victories. We rolling right now. Shout out to Coach Albin. But no, I want to say this. My dad, he graduated in the '70s. From an HBCU. So that was like, he's proud of that when there was not a lot of African-American males going to school. My mom graduated from Kent. My brother went to Akron, and then me and my other brother, we played football at OU. So we're a MAC family. Talk about the unique opportunity of playing, get some of the action, and some of the unique opportunities to play some of those teams like you mentioned, the Ohio States and some of those guys to cut your teeth on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, man. The MAC, I'm very familiar with the MAC. I'm a huge college football fan. I played against MAC schools. And the one thing about every single MAC school is that they're tough. Every single one. They play hard. It's about toughness. It's about grittiness. It's about physicality. And, looking at this roster and look at the team, they played Penn State and Texas A&M tough back-to-back. At their venues, and I got my behind kicked at Penn State in 1994 when we got beat down. What was it? It was 63-14.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah,
that was not pretty.
Yeah, that was wild.
Oh, trust me, I know. So for them to go into those venues and to play tough tells me, one, this team is not far off. This is not a rebuild; it's a retweak. And but all the MAC schools from Miami to Ohio to that team up north. To NIU, it is a physical conference, and it's very competitive from top to bottom. There's not a lot of separation. So the team that's the most disciplined, the focused, the culture, and bought in, the healthiest will probably win it. So I'm excited about that. And in terms of playing the other Power 5 schools, I'm not foreign to that. At Tennessee State, we played against Mississippi State. We went to Notre Dame. The outcome wasn't what it was, but what our kids learned was like, hey, you know what? They put their pants on the same way we do, and for a certain period of time, we were competitive, and it got out of hand, but we were able to learn, like, man, we can really grow. We have a really good team. We're actually went on to have our first winning season after we played Notre Dame. So there's tremendous benefit in playing against schools, the blue blood schools, in terms of finding your confidence and knowing that you can go out there and compete with anybody.
For those that don't know, in BG, when you refer to the team up north, you're obviously not talking about Michigan. I'll let you say the team's
Toledo,
name.
Toledo,
I can't.
The Rockets, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I like how you bought in early. I like that. He's already
he's
indoctrinated.
Eddie, I'm fascinated to hear the connection between Urban Meyer and Eddie George. Obviously, Urban Meyer, before he went on and had great success at Florida and Ohio State, was at Bowling Green, and then he went to Utah, and then Florida, and then finally onto Columbus. I'm sure you had met Urban during his years as coach there and had built a relationship with him. But if I'm hearing you right, it sounds like Urban was the one driving this Eddie George to BG train. How did all of that connection and what does your relationship with Urban come together?
Well, yeah, Urban and I, I've known Urban for a very long time. In fact, when I first took the Tennessee State job is when he went down to Jacksonville, and we were at a Tim Tebow event, and I told him, "Hey, man, I'm jumping into coaching, and I'm at Tennessee State." He said, "Oh my God, you would be great with a whistle around your neck." I was waiting for that day. So, fast forward to again, I was in Indianapolis, and I told the story before, if you haven't heard it, but I was on my way back to Nashville. I'm driving back to Nashville. And I love the drive because I get the chance to clear my mind, and I'm just thinking to myself, man, God, what's next? Given the situation in Tennessee State, the year that we had, I'm praying that something something happens that we can continue to sustain our success there. And I said, just give me a sign. And I'm passing through Bowling Green, Kentucky, and I see Bowling Green, Kentucky sign. I say, okay, and I just so happen to look down at my phone. And it's Urban Meyer, a message from Urban Meyer, and it says, "Hey, are you interested in the Bowling Green job?" So I said, "Call me." So we talked, and I'm pretty sure he vetted out other coaches, but he says one name that comes to mind is Eddie George, and he'd be perfect for the job. And he asked me a couple questions. He says, "Hey, I'm gonna, endorse you, and I want you to put your best foot forward and go out there and do your thing."
Wow.
So I did just that. I went on the interview. I did a Zoom interview, an in-person interview, sidebar interviews. And as we kept going down this path, I realized that our interests were aligned and our thinking was aligned. We were in harmony in terms of what I wanted in a program and what they wanted in a head coach. And it was like, oh, man, this could be the perfect marriage. It was a blend of the entrepreneurial aspect of NIL and then being an ambassador of the community, the ambassador of the school, which I've done my entire life because I've been an ambassador for Ohio State. I've been an ambassador for the Titans. I've been an ambassador for the NFL. So it was a perfect marriage. And also the fact that now I'm a head coach. So with those three hats, it seemed like the perfect fit. And, when I got here, it just continues to feel good. So it's still in the honeymoon phases and before the season starts, but it feels like the right fit because the people here have been absolutely phenomenal in terms of helping me be successful and helping me get on my feet. And the support has been amazing. And I didn't realize this, Jay, but I tell you, man, the fan base here is pretty doggone nice, man. I would say it's different than Ohio State. It's more of a rather reserved Uber fan versus Ohio State.
That's well said. No, that's well said. And here's the thing, Eddie.
Yeah.
When the program is doing well, and right now I would say the health of the program is there. It's not like you're going to a program that's a lot of times when you go to a new job like that, they're the 2 or 3 wins. That's not where Bowling Green is. Yeah. And when you keep winning, that fan base is going to grow.
Hey, let's look at this. I mean, they lost to Miami of Ohio last year, 28-12. Lost to NIU, who beat Notre Dame 17-7. Played at Penn State, at Texas A&M back-to-back. A 6-point loss to A&M. A 7-point loss to Penn State at their venues.
Yeah, they had Penn State on the ropes in the second half.
Yeah. So I mean, you lose a tight end who's going to be probably the first going in the first round, a really good quarterback. We got some questions to get answers to in terms of the roster. But in terms of culture, Scott Leffler he left this place in a really, really great position. And I'm just here to try to enhance it and take it to the next level.
Coach, in the past, you had the opportunity to coach against Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. And, depending on who you talk to, their perspective, it differs, right? People have a lot of good things to say, a lot of bad things to say. But as a coach and as a former player, I'm interested to know your perspective on one Shedeur Sanders.
Well, Shedeur, to me, and I've coached against him. He tore us up, and we knew what we had in Shedeur. I'll say the second time we played him, we had a beat on what he did well, and that was his sophomore season. But he has an answer. He can see it. He can see the problem. He can identify the problem, and he has an answer for it. And his anticipation is great. His strengths, are definitely in-game moment. He shines in those moments. You look at his weaknesses, took some bad sacks, probably some poor habits in the pocket. But, for the most part, the kid knows how to prepare. He's cut from a cloth that his father, regardless of what you think about him, Deion, his work ethic is unparalleled. He's a Hall of Famer for a reason with a great work ethic, with great skill set. So, he understands how to prepare. He understands what it takes to be great. And I'm curious to see, now that we're getting into the draft season and people are going to pick and prod, and we're at that point now where they're going to focus on his weaknesses. And I get it, but Shedeur is going to welcome that challenge. He's going to figure out a way to get better. And I think he's a wonderful young man. He's a competitor, and he's very confident in his skill set.
Eddie, I was talking to my father the other day, and he was kind of talking about you, Coach Prime, some of the guys that were playing at the top levels of professional football, Hall of Fame type guys, great character, and he said, man, I watch. He watches, your games. He watches Coach Prime's games, and it's like, his kids didn't go there. I said, why do you watch those? He says, because, there's a lot of people that didn't get those opportunities like that, not from a professional athlete standpoint and from an African-American standpoint. And do you feel like you represent, or you are a trailblazer in that right of a player who's played but has something to give back, but sometimes they don't get that opportunity as quickly as possible in terms of being an African-American coach? Yeah.
I never really looked at it that way, honestly, man. A trailblazer. Yes, I'm coming from a different place in life. Typically when you are into coaching, you start at the ground level and you work your way up. Well, there's different ways to get there. I come from the top down. I played at a very high level. I've gone on to do other things in business and acting and entrepreneurship and education, and it all prepared me. It trained me for this moment. Everything that I've done. So it's a different approach to it, and I think it allows other athletes to say, okay, this is a great way for me to get into the business, whether it's cutting my teeth at the HBCU or a lower level school, to help bring recognition, to build my brand, and to grow from that perspective. Because to be honest with you, it is tough for former athletes and African Americans to get into the business. We need more representation, and we need more people in positions of power. And we've got to have those opportunities to get in front of decision makers and so forth. So I think that's really important that we continue to be mindful of that, and continue to have programs that allow us to display our talents in that regard. And that's why I'm saying that. I'm so appreciative of the fact that I was able to go on the Bears interview, and they've given me a shot, and it went really well. And I think that changed the perspective of, man, okay, the Bears interviewed him, what's really going on? Let's check under the hood. Mm-hmm. And my name came up in Bowling Green, let's just see. And they found the right fit. So, it's just about getting in front of and exposing your talents and what you're capable of doing to the right people.
Eddie, before I let you go, I have to tell you, every time I think back to you winning the Heisman, I can't help but laugh at I'm sure you remember this. After that night in New York, I was working for Channel 10 in Columbus, and we had sent a limo to pick up Eddie and Coach Cooper and your posse. There must have been 8 or 10 of you. And they came to CBS in New York City, the home of
Hold on, you
Dan
still
Rather.
use posse?
Oh, yeah. Listen, I'm 59, bro. I'm 59. Back then, wait a minute.
Get your friend together.
Back then, it was posse. Back then, it was posse.
Posse, all right.
I gotta stay, I gotta stay correct to the era. And I'll never forget, I'm looking around CBS newsroom in New York City, and someone figured out how you could dial out on the phones. They didn't have cell phones back then. They said, hey, if you dial 9 and then a number, you can get out. So at one point, there were like 7 or 8 guys on phones at the CBS newsroom, and Eddie and John Cooper were getting ready to go live. I don't know if you remember or not, with Herbie and I on Wall to Wall Sports. It was was a crazy night. It was
that was crazy.
I always look back on that time with great fondness, and you were always one of the easiest athletes to cover that I've been covering in 38 years.
That night was magical, man. It was a magical night because I won the Heisman that night. Enjoyed it, and then we went to a spot called Chad's and Wilson's in I think it was Harlem. I can't remember where it was. It was a jazz bar. That's the same night that I ran into my wife. I mean,
wow.
I lived an incredible life, man. I really have. The same exact night I met my wife was the night I won the Heisman. So I always brag to Archie. Said, "Yeah, I won 2 Heismans too. I have 2 trophies as well. I got it on the same night." But it's amazing, man. I lived an amazing life.
You have. Born under the right star, my friend. Best of luck to you at Bowling Green. I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
Appreciate you.
All right, fellas.
Come
God
back
bless
anytime,
y'all.
man.
All right.
Talon's up.
Yeah, there you go. Talent's up. Ziggy Zumba. He's learning all of the talk.
Yeah.
He's learning all of the BG talk.
They gave him that catchphrase pamphlet.
Yeah, they did. The starter kit. BG starter kit. He's gonna be great there.
He's gonna elevate the whole.
Think of the recruiting advantage.
He's gonna elevate the MAC. I love seeing big name coaches come to the MAC because it's trickle down with that. Like, people want to get to Eddie George and that. And
OU once get the old Nebraska coach.
Yes, Frank Solich.
Yeah, Frank Solich. I remember that.
All right, Jason is on his way back from the Myles Garrett press conference. He'll be joining us for some live reaction here in a sec. But first, we have to talk a little Cleveland Cavaliers after a quick word from FanDuel. March Madness is here. FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when their first $5 bet wins. That is $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS right now to get in on all the college hoops action all tournament long. Guys, Donovan Mitchell is out tonight against the Memphis Grizzlies. It is the second consecutive game Donovan will have missed with what the Cavs are listing as groin soreness. I don't remember a specific play where Donovan got hurt. He didn't mention it after the last game he played where he finished the game. But this is 2 games in a row. My question to you guys is, do you feel like this is something serious or the Cavs just playing it extra cautious now considering they have such a dominant lead in the Eastern Conference with about 15 games to go?
Well, let me start by saying groin injury or groin soreness is always serious. I mean, that's
even for one of us.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about in a basketball sense.
Yeah.
Groin soreness is never a good thing.
Never. It hurts.
But I don't think so. But isn't it a guess, Mike? I mean, do we?
Yeah, we're guessing.
My guess is no. He looked fine. He was moving fine when he was on the bench during the win on Tuesday night. In fact, late in the game, I caught him making some coaching changes. I don't know if you guys picked up on that.
That was my video.
I said, bro.
Was it your video? No, I saw it live when I was watching the game.
I said, bro, did you make a substitution? He just told somebody.
He did.
He just told somebody to get out.
Late game free throw situation, and he literally pointed to the sub and said, "Get in," and then he pointed to the player on the floor and said, "Come out." And I'm like, "My man's coaching."
He was on the court talking to Darius while Isaac was shooting free throws. He was literally had his arm around Darius, pointing out stuff.
I love it.
It was
I do
awesome.
too.
But yeah, Earl, you have any long-term concerns about Donovan, or is this just?
It's just, I think it's Kenny just being precautious. Like Mike, he told me and you, what was that, last week? We're in the month of March. If you look at the Cavs schedule, in the month of March. They got a boatload of games, a couple back-to-backs in there, and this is the time to where Kenny kind of wants to, be precautious and make sure that his guys is ready to go to close out April, get ready to start the playoffs. Like, to me, this is a nothing burger. I think Donovan, rest up, man, get yourself together. We got more than enough weapons that we can deploy against the Memphis Grizzlies, though that will be a tough game tonight. Memphis is 24-10 at home. They tend to play better at home, but we got enough, right? I still think we got enough with Darius and Ty Jerome back there. I think this is going to be a big game for Evan Mobley. As it pertains to Donovan Mitchell, it's not nothing to be overly concerned about. I think the Cavs is just being cautious with this situation.
Oh, this is my plan. And let's say it all together. Minimal ski. This is nothing.
Here you go again. Grizzlies, Minimal ski.
Minimal ski.
Oh, here we go.
And I'm gonna tell you why. See, people was mad at me on Twitter. G. Bush, you see things about the Cavs. I said, listen, Darius Garland was playing bad for 2.5 quarters.
Ja Morant gonna hear this, man.
Yes. So yes, and I want him to hear this.
Oh,
this was all a plan to get Darius Garland ready to go. If you look at the numbers, Hunter was balling. You look at the numbers. Evan Mobley was doing this thing. You know what you're going to get from Jared Allen. And Donovan Mitchell has been on a tear. You know what they're doing? They're trying to tell him, like, listen, Darius, we don't act like you a 15, 13-point guy. His runner wasn't dropping. He was not being as efficient as he was at the earlier part of the season. And guess what? At that point in time, his numbers was trending down. Now, did I say he was playing terrible? Listen to the words coming out of G. Bush's mouth. This team is going to go as far, and I will continue to say it, as Darius Garland is ready to go.
Wow.
I don't agree with that.
It's Darius Garland.
I don't agree with that.
Watch. When that game...
It's Evan.
No,
So that's you're saying that he's their most important player then?
No, he is the critical... he is the true X factor. Evan Mobley has moved to a point where I know what I'm going to get from Evan Mobley. And even if he's not having a great offensive night, I know what he can give me defensively.
Against Porzingis, we don't know.
But but guess what? I'm more comfortable with him against Porzingis than I am with Darius Garland against White and Holiday.
Wow.
And they hunt him in the pick and roll. Darius Garland, because he is a small defender, he has to be uber aggressive.
Yeah.
He has to be aggressive. And he is a guy that is an all-star. He's capable of 24, 25 a night. And I want to see how good he is tonight without Donovan Mitchell. He was spectacular in the fourth quarter. That's the aggressive level we need. I need him blowing kisses and doing all this other stuff that he be doing when he hitting them. He be doing all that stuff. I need that swag because tonight is Ja Morant. And Ja Morant's hair is just as long as yours, Darius. It's just as long.
Ain't neither one of their hair doing nothing. How about that? Ain't neither one of their hair doing nothing.
Now all of a
How
sudden,
about that?
all of a
How
sudden,
about that?
They got the cameras on Earl.
No, come see me, Darius. Come see me, Ja. Come see me,
Mike. This is your problem. They let him go over to the Cavs, interview people. They got the cameras on at 92.3 The Fan. Now he got hair as long as Darius Garland. That's your problem. But I will say, all jokes aside, Darius Garland, I'm interested in seeing because this night they're gonna be in the grindhouse. It used to be the grindhouse, but
it's a homecoming, Jay.
Ja Morant.
It's a homecoming for him tonight.
Ja Morant is that deal, and if Darius Garland can play and get a win, think about how confident you'll be that the Cavs just went somewhere and the best player on the floor outdo one of the best players in the league at his position.
I hadn't thought that, but it kind of makes sense. I'm not saying I'm completely buying it, but here's the part.
G wrote the script and I'm reading it.
So the parts I don't buy, I don't think he is the X factor.
Me neither.
I mean, we have long said that if the Cavs are going to win, Evan Mobley has to emerge as their best player. And I think we're starting to see that this year, and that's why they've taken that next step. He has to continue doing that. I'm not convinced he can against Boston. I'm a show-me guy. Let me see that you could do it. But when you make the point about, hey, let's take a couple of games here, and let's take the alpha out of the mix, and let's see how Donovan can handle it. And I will say, for 3 quarters, he got a failing grade Tuesday night.
But was not looking good.
They were down 18 points, and I'm like, oh, my God. They're missing more than Donovan's skill set. They're missing his
intensity
X factor. Right. But all of a sudden, the fourth quarter kicked in, and everybody got the memo that, okay, now we start play defense.
Yeah.
And those perimeter shots that were wide open the first 3 quarters evaporated.
Well.
And all of a sudden, it was a scoring desert. The Nets couldn't find a bucket.
Yep.
It's because they played great defense, but also there was no question as to who the field general of that comeback was.
Yep.
Darius put his flag in that fourth quarter and said, this is my house, and this is my time. Now let's see if he can do it on the road. Is it by design? I don't know. You do two things there. You get your guy a little rest against teams that, at least one of them that you should handle. I don't know about tonight. Without Donovan tonight, this is going to be a tough
Memphis
ask.
is a good team.
They're a very good team.
Oh, yeah.
And this is not Brooklyn, and this is not Cleveland. And so this is a great test. And kudos to Kenny Atkinson if that is what he's doing, to try to get his guy a little more under the pressure confidence going.
I just look at it like, with Darius, last 5 games, I think he's shooting like 38% overall, 33% from three-point range. This is considered a homecoming game for him. Donovan is not there. This got the perfect ingredients for this to kind of be one of those break out that slump games. He scored 18 points in the fourth quarter to Cavs last game out, so his confidence should be through the roof. If you're a betting guy, if you're on FanDuel, 25-7 for Darius. That's what I would go.
Oh, wow. Okay.
25.7 assists.
You
heard it here first.
I think Evan is going to ball out today. No Jared Jackson. He's still out with a sprained ankle. So, Memphis is a tough place to play. But I just think that those two cats are going to show up and they're going to show out.
All right.
Now, listen, man, I tell you what, I like that. He's out of the game. Zach Edey will be playing today.
That's cool.
I'm interested in seeing McNuggets what the mix is, and it's almost Evan Mobley's like a pitcher now. Like I want to see how many times he goes to the off-speed pitch or the fastball. There has to be a beautiful blend of posting up and shooting jumpers. Like there's sometimes that we're going to get to a point where Evan Mobley is this hybrid player. And the next evolutionary step is going to be like, when does Evan Mobley sense that he has somebody that he can dominate inside, and he says, I ain't shooting no threes tonight. I'm just going to dominate inside. Or if he got a guy like Zach Edey on him who can't move his feet with Evan Mobley, as you see right here going down the lane with the left-hand dunk, then, hey, let me go in the perimeter and wear this guy out with my athleticism. He can't get to that shot. You know what I'm saying?
You know about got to be calling for threes now, right?
Yeah.
Hey!
And he shoots step backs now.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in seeing that. But the top of the lineup today, I'm interested in definitely seeing Darius Garland and Steph Jerome too. Steph Jerome should be back. Steph Jerome is going to be actually getting minutes today, and his tag team partner, WWE World Tag Team Champs, him and DeAndre Hunter, they'll be back ready to go. I got the Cavs winning in a close one, but we will get it done.
Do we know for sure Hunter is going to play?
He's probable.
Okay.
He was sick on Tuesday,
Right.
out with illness. In all the videos the Cavs posted from Vanderbilt yesterday where they were playing football, we're going to talk about that in the KYC show.
Yeah.
Hunter was out there with them, so I'm assuming if he was able to be out there with them playing football,
Yeah, he should be able to
he'll
play
be able to
basketball
play tonight. Yeah.
Okay.
There we
good.
go.
All right. I like that.
There we go.
I just saw Jason walk into the building. Jason Lloyd was covering the Myles Garrett news
Yep.
conference.
When he comes back out of
He's,
the bathroom, we're going to do a little switcheroo. He's going
Yeah.
to sit in on Earl and give us a inside look at what happened at the press conference. One
No,
thing
he's not.
No,
he's not.
crazy.
No, the hell he's not.
That was
Whoa, no, the
wow.
hell he's not.
Yeah, go ahead. Sit
What'd I
No,
say?
he's not. You say he's gonna come in, he's gonna sit in on Earl. No, he's not. No, the
I
hell
said
he's
sit in
not.
for Earl.
No, that's not what you said,
He said he
man.
gonna come sit on Earl. That was crazy.
Yeah, that's wild, brother.
Well, that'd be
Earl saying that's a hard no.
UCSS after dark.
Hey, chill out.
No, but to tonight's Cavs game, they're at 15 games. They have tied their longest win streak of the season, tied the longest win streak in the NBA this season. They are on the road in Memphis with a chance to make this their 16th straight win, which would be incredible.
There's a 42-game stretch that includes 3 different stretches where they're 42-0.
If you just take those win streaks, if they lost
42-0.
Jay, if they lost every game this season,
Outside of those win streaks,
where do you think they'd rank in the Eastern Conference
I think
now?
they'd probably be the 3 seed.
Earl G, what do you think?
6.
I say
No.
top three still.
No.
Tied with the Knicks for the 3rd seed.
Yeah.
Incredible.
One other thing that this is my drama now for the rest of the regular season. This is what I'm watching for. Is it possible? And it is possible, but is it likely that the Cleveland Cavaliers in an 82-game schedule can lose fewer times than the Browns did in a 17-game schedule?
We did that on Tuesday.
Yes.
Mind blown.
And it's legit realistic.
Yeah, they're 50,
legitimately
they're 55 and 10 right now. That means there's 17 games left. They have to win 14 of the next 17, which is doable, but probably unlikely. There's some tough games in there.
Like this one.
Yeah. So, but if they go 14-3, in 82 games, they would lose fewer times than the Browns did in 17.
It'd be crazy, but we got to get to this Myles stuff. So let's talk a little bit about Monarch Money.
Yes.
Earl, great job on the panel today.
Thank
We're
you.
going to make the swap here. But
J-Lo!
I said swap. There was nothing pause-worthy about that. Monarch Money is the newest sponsor of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We are thrilled to have them on board. Have you ever checked your bank account and wondered, where'd all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you just stop managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery, but now I budget smarter and save more. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever with Monarch Money because you can easily share and track your personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use promo code LOCKEDONNFL at Monarch Money for 50% off your first year. That is monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. And with that, we have Jason Lloyd in the building. And Jason, let's just get to the elephant in the room. You got next question, bro. Got next question.
Wasn't the first time in my career, won't be the last.
What happened?
Oh, Myles don't want to talk to me today. It's okay. It's understandable.
Well, yeah, it is.
I wouldn't want to talk to me either.
Wear that as a badge of honor.
Yeah, I mean, it's
What
fine.
was the question?
It doesn't matter what the question was.
So you asked him a question, and he responded with "next question, bro."
Yeah.
Literally, next
Yeah,
question, bro.
No, not bro.
Okay.
Just next question. Which is, I mean, it's totally fine. I just asked them, did they share their plans with you on the number 2 pick, their intentions with the number 2 pick? Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't even that bad.
And, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the question was. I could ask him how
He
are
could have
you
asked,
today?
"What
I could
color
ask,
is the sky today?"
Do you want a cup of
Next
coffee
question.
today? And it
Yeah.
was going to be next question. I mean, everyone will make a big thing about it today, and it's like that's his right. He doesn't have to take questions from me.
Was there
especially under
any
circumstances.
conversation between you and the Browns folks about the piece?
No, I kind of anticipated I might hear from someone.
I thought you would too.
Yeah, I didn't, which it's fine. I kind of anticipated today, though, it might go that way. But again, it's not the first time it's happened. It won't be the last.
But
between a reporter
let me
and an
ask this
athlete.
question of you. And if you want to say next question, bro, that's fine.
Next question, bro.
Is it typical when you write a piece like that,
Yeah.
that you would hear something from player, team media representative, or at least some pushback on the facts? Did they even challenge anything that you wrote?
No, they know it's true.
They know it's true.
It's all everybody knows it's true. That's why there's no pushback on it. And
Right.
yeah, I mean, usually when you write something like that, you're going to hear from an agent. You're going to hear from somebody with the team. I've heard from an owner. I've heard from an owner in this town over stuff that they didn't like. You know,
Right.
and it's par for the course, man. It comes with the territory.
No, it does.
And it's totally fine. I mean, listen, Myles literally has my number. So I would be happy to have a conversation with him. If he wants to cuss me out and mother bleep me up one side and down the other, again, go ahead, man. Like I'm totally open to those types of conversations. And then you don't write about like you. I've always said like they have to have some sort of repercussion because we can come out here and I can write something like that.
Yeah.
And what's his recourse? Next question. Okay.
I
If
know,
he wants to talk about it, I will talk about it.
I'll get your thoughts on this, and first I'll add mine into the question. To me, it seems a bit immature if that's how you're going to address it, is to pretend that you don't exist.
Well, but no.
Because it almost validates what you wrote.
Well,
challenge what I wrote, but don't be mad at me for writing the truth.
But he has to have some sort of recourse.
Yeah.
What's he like? What else is he supposed to? If he
well,
didn't
it's
want,
not next question.
but if he doesn't want to talk to me, fine. Like, and you know, I mean, I really could have I could have come up with like 3 or 4 more questions right there on the spot. But then you're making it about that, and I don't want to do that.
No, I know you don't.
So you
Yeah. And that's a smart move.
So he made his feelings perfectly clear. I totally get it. I'll sit there and shut up the rest of the time. I'm not going to say anything, and let's carry out the rest of the press conference.
Let me
So,
ask you.
wait, G, real quick, because we got to get into the actual substance of the press conference. Jason, you were there. It happened during the show, so I was following along on Twitter. Can you fill us in on some of the questions people may have about what happened with Myles Garrett, what he changed, what changed his mind, how the dinosaurs impacted the whole press conference vibe?
Explain that.
I don't even want to talk about the dinosaurs.
Well, the viewers probably don't know what Mike's talking about.
There was dinosaurs laid out all across the top of the podium. There was dinosaur cupcake. Everybody knows Myles
loves
likes
dinosaurs.
But I mean, it looked
So
like
it was almost like a kindergartner
looked like a
themed
daycare
party.
It looked like a daycare.
Was it awkward?
No, I mean he answered the best he could. He said it wasn't about the money. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well,
course
when
it's
they
about-
say it's not about the money.
Of course, it's about the money.
Yeah.
But I thought he did say like it weighed heavy on him and it was hard on him and this is family and I believe him that he's been here for, 8 years now and he said sometimes families fight and that was but he made it a very public fight and so I thought that was probably one of his best lines is sometimes families fight.
I believe that too. Let me ask you this: when I watched him on the Rich Eisen show, I almost felt like I hate to use this term, I almost felt like he was like he was a captive subject.
Yeah.
Like he didn't really want to be there saying those things. To me, it felt like the advice he was getting from his management team was, no, you got to go out there and you got to.
Yeah, I think that absolutely was. He was following a plan of attack that was set in place for him.
Yeah.
And
to me, he just looked uncomfortable doing it.
And you have to deal with some of the results, just like I have to deal with the results of what I wrote. Like at one time, I had a really good relationship with Myles, and now obviously he's really mad at me. Okay, well, I have to deal with the fallout of that now, and I will. And he's going to have to deal with a little bit of cleanup here. But ultimately, he goes out on the field next year, and he's in discussion for Defensive Player of the Year, and he's got 15, 16 sacks, and he plays his ass off. All this will eventually go away.
People won't even remember it.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, I think the big thing is the Browns are better with Myles Garrett. He's a great football player. Like at the end of the day, I think that when you look at it, when he goes out there and he plays well, he gets his sacks. You'll look back at this and say, "Oh, remember when?" No, nobody will remember that. We got the shortest memory span in the world.
Just win.
I said yesterday he is a generational player. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He may end his career as the all-time sack leader in the history of the game. He is a phenomenal talent. And anything I wrote yesterday, never disputed that, never questioned that, had nothing. That wasn't the point of what I wrote. That had nothing to do with it. Everybody acknowledges his greatness.
I got to get to this question because I saw it on the rundown somewhere. Like, so, McNuggets, you can stop me if I'm in the wrong spot, but man, I saw that, Russ came in for the visit, right?
Yeah.
The two people that was recruiting him was Myles Garrett and Deshaun Watson.
Well, I think Deshaun just happened to be in the building.
Okay.
He wasn't part of the.
Okay, I was like, that is some awkward. How did that really go down?
I had heard that too. I had heard he was in the building working,
right.
but had nothing to
He
do
was
with
not
the recruitment.
Okay.
It's a big
Russell.
building.
Okay.
There's a lot of rooms.
Yeah.
But Myles was part of the recruitment for Russ, and he was asked about it today, and he said he thought he went well, and said, "What was your pitch to him?" And he said, "I won't take you down 3 or 4 times a year," which was a pretty good line off the cuff. I don't know if they had rehearsed that one or not, but that was a good line. I think it is a bit of an awkward sell for him now to come in and try and tell someone else how great it is to play here when you just got done setting fire to the building for the last 3 months.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. That's
So
why I thought,
if you're Russell Wilson or if you're anybody, how do you look across the table from him and say, how can I believe anything that you're saying right now?
Yeah.
And again, we're just having an honest conversation. Like, this is just honesty here.
No, and you're absolutely right. I thought the same thing. I thought, how do you now turn to Myles Garrett and ask him to be the salesman for your program when he was going on and doing interviews during Super Bowl week when everyone was watching saying, I can no longer play there. It's a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
He didn't use those words, but he might as well have.
But again,
I want to win. And now he's telling players, guys, you want to win? Come to Cleveland.
Yeah.
It's not a good look.
Maybe Russ has been through the ringer enough that he understands, hey, I'm going to a place where I want to play.
He didn't go to Denver because he thought he could win a Super Bowl.
No,
he went to Denver because they had more zeros
and they get
behind
that.
their offer.
And all the players get that. And another good thing, it's March. It's March.
It'll heal.
We got a long time till August.
Will you reach out to him or no?
We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'd be happy to have a conversation with him. He can cuss me out and say whatever he wants.
Sure.
And if he doesn't want to do that, that's okay too. It's balls in his court.
So this is crazy. This is a lighthearted joke. If you call, who is more likely to answer the phone? Deshaun Watson or Myles Garrett?
Deshaun.
Or Kobe Altman from you?
Kobe.
Okay, good. You
Kobe. For sure, Kobe. Kobe and I are fine.
Look, you good. And guess
Kobe and I are fine. But
people thought at one point in time, people thought that was nuclear war last summer when we was talking about all of the situation with Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah,
And now guess what?
But and again, like this, we got to deal with each other, man. Like, we're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. You got to learn to coexist, and you don't always get along, and you fight. And Kobe and I are fine. And I mean, to Deshaun's credit, I wrote some hard things this year, and he stood there and answered every question I ever asked him. And I told the Browns, I don't have Deshaun's number. I have his agent's number. I don't have Deshaun's number. But I told the Browns when that was going on, if he wants to talk to me, I am glad to have a conversation with him. And was told that's not how he operates. Like, there's nothing to talk about. But he sat there and answered the questions I asked him, and that's it. I'm never going to be upset at how another athlete responds. If you don't want to talk to me, okay, I'll leave you alone. If you want to have a conversation, let's have the it's whatever, however you want to handle it.
It's really part of human nature. We all have defense mechanisms. When we're attacked, and not even attacked, when there are negative things said or written about us. Everybody handles that differently. I worked with Skip Bayless, who would laugh at the countless number of people that would tell him to go kill himself every single day. I saw it on his feed. He showed me multiple times. And Skip was like, And what I learned from Skip was he has it right. It doesn't matter what they're saying about you. You make your own reputation every day by what you do that's in the public view. And I'm not sitting here saying Myles is immature, but what I would love to have seen Myles, how I'd love to see him handle this is somebody told him that. Someone told you that. One of his teammates or multiple teammates told you that about him. That I would think that what that would force me to do was, I don't care what Alvin in his mom's basement thinks about me, and I truly do not. What I do care about is what my coworkers and friends and family think about.
Who's telling him this? Where is he getting this? Who in this building? Why does he know this?
And he knows you're not going to give that up, but at least what I would say is, wow, I've got teammates that think that I'm not doing my part, that I'm slacking in my role as team leader, whether he wants to be a team leader or not. It's like Charles Barkley used to say, I'm not a role model. You don't decide if you're the role model. The person viewing you decides if they can use you as a role model.
And he was asked, I think Zach's actually one that asked him about, does this change anything for you? Is this contract change your mentality or anything, the way you'll go about things? And he said, no.
Well, so much for that, Ho.
Jason, I want to ask this specifically. You know I love you, Jason, but this has been a lot about the you, Myles thing. Let's talk about what Myles actually said. We got 2 minutes for a super chat, so can you fill us in on some of the other stuff Myles said in regards to his belief in the future with the team, what changed, those conversations with Andrew Berry, always winning a championship? Fill us in 2 minutes on some of the other details from what Myles Garrett said.
He said that when he was denied the conversation with Jimmy, it opened up more conversations with Andrew and ultimately led to this deal. And he said it's going to take a lot of work, and he's willing to put in the work and do whatever it takes to get this thing to that level, to that championship level. And I mean, obviously there was some awkward moments. I don't think the day was awkward at all. I think there was some awkward moments and some awkward questions of like, hey, you went out and trashed him for 2 months. Now, how do you walk this back? And again, like I thought his best line was, sometimes families fight. And he said he wants to finish his career here now. Certainly that's well on its way to happening with this contract. He will obviously, I think, play a number of years if he stays healthy beyond this current deal. But I did want to ask him about the no trade, why the no trade was important to him, but I just let it go after the.
Was Stefanski, Barry, or any front office members there with him?
No, not in the room. JW was there. Jimmy's son-in-law, JW, was in the room. His agent, Nicole, was in the room off to the side. And after it was over, Nicole got on the podium with them and posed for pictures after negotiating that deal.
As they should.
I don't blame her.
I guess.
Final question, because I know we have super chats. What was your biggest takeaway from anything that he said today?
Nothing overwhelming. It kind of went how I expected it to go, so I don't think that there was any jarring thing. He said he's committed to being here, and he wants to bring a championship here.
Damn.
And they got a lot of work to do.
I wanted to hear that plan. What's the plan? The plan.
The plan is $40 million, G. That's the plan.
That's a hell of a plan.
That's the plan.
Here's the other thing. Even if they had shared what their blueprint is to get out of this, he can't share it with us
Right.
because it likely involves what they're going to do at the draft.
Of course.
So even if he knows.
That's why what I was at, I'm not expecting him to sit up there and lay out, but I have no doubt that they have shared with him
I
their
agree with
intentions
that.
at 2.
Sure.
But we have to get on the record. I was just trying to get it on the record that yes, we talked. We talked.
Abdul Carter's name never came up?
No, Abdul Carter's name. No specific draft prospect's name ever came up.
All right.
No.
All right, we got Super Chats here, 4 before we head over to WKYC. On the WKYC show, we're going to be talking about Kenny Pickett's press conference yesterday, some Cavs stuff, and whether or not any Cavs could help the Browns on the football field. But 4 Super Chats. First one comes from DBDog21, who says, G. Bush, thanks for the shout-out on Ultimate Browns in reference to the 4-year qualifying contract for Chubb that I mentioned in a previous Super Chat. Researching that shows that you guys truly give what the viewers say.
Yeah, shout out to you because I was laughing at you, dog. I was actually clowning you, and I had to go back, check the research. I said, "Oh, that's what he was talking about." Put it in there, so I'll be listening. I unlike these guys, I'll be in the comment section, and it's gonna end badly. But
let me help you out on that. Let me give you some Skip Bayless advice.
Don't
look. Don't look. No. At the end of the day, this is how much it means.
Yeah.
Next Super Chat. Salish Shastri says, hey, Mikey, what could be a possible strategy against the full court press some teams have been using against the Cavs? Awesome Cavs and Coffee show yesterday. Give the ball to Darius Donovan. Let them do their work, but be fast and intentional. You got to be intentional against the press. If you mess around, that's when things get messy. Halim Youssef says, G carrying Miles Woodard for being a bad leader is hilarious. Stop lying to yourself. He needs to be a better leader, plain and simple.
He do. Hey, I can't make nobody be a better leader. It is what it is. I'm just saying it happens in professional athletics.
Candyman 005 says, go Zips, Maction semis tonight. And Salvatore the 216 says, what are some of the Cavs' best signature go-to moves heading into the playoffs? Example, the Mitchell step back, the Garland Allen pick and roll, Mobley lefty drive.
Hey, is that it for Super Chats?
Well, we got to answer this. Top 5 moves.
No.
The Mitchell going left step back. The Garland floater's been incredible. Mobley D-cell step.
The Mitchell ring around the Rosie over the
cradle,
top.
And the Evan Mobley D-cell step. Those are your top 5.
Yeah.
We'll see you on KYC.
Good luck, Avon Lake Shore Gals, going for a state championship in 34 minutes.
There you go.